Good afternoon, dear professor. My name is Alejandra Herrera, and today I'm going to talk about semantics. Semantics is the study of meaning in language, and to understand semantics better, there are some important topics that we need to know, such as compositional semantics, semantic rules, anomaly, metaphor, idioms, and lexical semantics. So let's start with the first one. Compositional semantics. Compositional semantics is the idea that the meaning of a sentence comes from the meaning of the words inside it and the way they are combined. For example, the student opened the window. We understand student is a person, opened is an action, and window is an object. And when we put these words together, the sentence has a complete meaning. And another example is Mario washed his pants yesterday. Each word adds information, and together they create the full idea. Let's talk about semantic rules. Semantic rules help us know if a sentence makes sense or not. So these rules are very important because sometimes a sentence can be grammatically correct, but the meaning can still sound strange. For example, the doctor helped the patient. So this sentence sounds normal and logical, but if we say the patient helped the hospital, the grammar is correct, but the meaning sounds a little strange. And another example is the mechanic fixed the car. So this sentence sounds normal and logical, but if we say the car fixed the mechanic, the grammar is correct, but the meaning sounds strange, as I mentioned before. So semantic rules help us understand logical meaning in language and recognize when idea sounds natural or not. Now let's continue with anomaly. An anomaly is a sentence that is grammatically correct, but the meaning is impossible or strange in real life. So this happens because the words don't normally go together in a logical way. For example, the television ate my sandwich. Televisions cannot eat, so the sentence sounds weird. And another example is the notebook danced in the kitchen. A notebook cannot dance. So even if the grammar is correct, the meaning doesn't make sense in real life. And sometimes anomalies are used in cartoons, jokes, or creative stories to make language more funny or interesting. Then we have metaphors. A metaphor compares two things in a creative way, and people use metaphors to express ideas, emotions, or situations in a more interesting form. For example, my phone is my best friend. So this doesn't mean that the phone is a real person. It means the person uses phone all the time. And another example is the city never sleeps. Cities don't really sleep, but this means that the city is always active and busy. And metaphors are very common in music, movies, and everyday conversations because they make language more expressive and creative. Next, let's talk about idioms or idiomatic expressions. Idioms are expressions with a different meaning from the literal words. For example, miss the boat. This doesn't mean missing a real boat, so it means missing an opportunity. And another example is a piece of cake. That is very common, and this means something is very easy. And another example, cold feet, means feeling nervous before doing something important. And idioms are very common in everyday English, especially in conversations, so learning them can help us understand native speakers better. Finally, we have lexical semantics or word meaning. And this topic studies the meaning of words and the relationship between them. And it also helps us understand how one word can have different meanings depending on the context. So some words can have more than one meaning. For example, watch can mean to look at something, or a small clock you wear on your wrist. So another word is ring, which can mean a piece of jewelry like one on my finger, or the sound of a phone when someone is calling us, like. Mhm. So, lexical semantics help us to understand vocabulary better and use words correctly in different situations. And in conclusion, semantics is very important because it helps us understand meaning in language, and all these topics help us to communicate more clearly and understand English better in daily life. Thank you very much for your attention.